Hello everyone and welcome to this new tutorial. On this tutorial you will see how we can scrape data from Google Maps. So basically the workflow of the scraper will be as follows. It will go to Google Maps, it will click on the search bar, it will enter something, let's say dentist, New York. It will hit enter. And then it will click on each one of these businesses. So for example, when it clicks on this one, it will get the name, the address, the website, and also this is the website, and also the phone number. So there are two things to note here. First of all, we don't have the emails, and that's because Google Maps don't provide the emails. So if you need the emails, you need to create a second scraper that will take a website and then it will go and search for the emails. And secondly, if we look right here, we can see that we only have a few listings. However, each time we scroll, we get more and more. In our scraper, we won't be scrolling. We will just get the first 5. So if you want all of them or maybe a bigger number, you will need to implement that feature. Let me show you how the scraper works. So let me get my terminal and let me run the scraper. And I want you to notice this. So we have Python 3 main.py, and then we write -l and we pass our location, then -s and we pass whatever we are searching for. In this example, you want photographers in London. We will also be implementing this, which is a CLI tool. So if I hit enter, we have a window popping up. It will go to google.com/maps. It will populate the form. It will hit enter. And then it will start clicking on each one of the listings. So the first one, second one, the third one, the fourth one, and finally the fifth one. So now if I open my folder, we can see that we have these two files. The first one is a CSV and second one is an Excel. Let's open the Excel. Let me make this bigger. And as you can see, we have 5 businesses. These are the names, the address, the website, and the phone number. So let me close this. Let me close this one, and let me go back to my text editor. So I will be using VS Code. I already created a main.py file, and now let's get started. So first thing first, let's create a virtual environment. Let me activate my virtual environment. As you can see, it's being activated. Let's install the required packages, which are Playwright to automate the browser, Pandas to download, or to say to save the data to either Excel or CSV, and we also need OpenPyXL because it's needed by Pandas to save to Excel. So let's run this. Let's run one last command, and that is Playwright install Chromium, because we will be using Google Chrome. So we are set. And since we are using a virtual environment, one thing we can do is to pip freeze our packages. And as you can see right here, these are the packages that we will be needing. So someone else can just install them and directly run our script. By the way, I will be leaving a link in the description for my GitHub, where I will be leaving all of the code. So now let's get started. Let me hide the terminal. And now for the code, I will try to go a bit faster and explain everything along the way so we don't waste much time. So first thing first, our imports. We will import Sync Playwright to automate our browser. We will need data class because we won't be using lists or dictionaries but data classes. I will explain this when we get to them. We will need Pandas to save our data. And finally, we will need the argparse package because we want to create a command line tool. So our first data class. So this data class will contain data of each business. As you can see right here, we have the name, the address, the website, and the phone number. If we go right here, we can see that each one of them has a name, an address, a website, and a phone number. If you are asking why we used a data class and not a dictionary, so in my experience to hold data, a data class is better. It provides more features along the way. So after this, we will need to create a second data class, which will be a list of businesses. Basically, this data class will have a list that will contain all of these. Like each instance will be appended to this list. So if we get back to this, we can see that each field in here is a string. And we first instantiate it with a none. Basically, we will set it equal to none, and then we will add them. However, when we want a list, we can't directly do that. We need to write this piece of code because otherwise it will be immutable, and that's why we imported this one. After that, we have this function which just takes this list of businesses and then it will return a Pandas data frame. And the reason we need a Pandas data frame is so that we can save it to either Excel or CSV. So basically, the only reason we added this is because these two requires it. So after that, we will pass to the CLI part. So in our if name equals main, we will print the following code. Or should I say, we will add the following code. So basically what this code does is it gives us a way to enter arguments in the command line so that they will be passed on to Python. So we first call our argument parser and then we add two arguments. And notice here how we have the search and the location, or the flags, which are -s and -l. And if you remember, if I get back my command line, notice here how we have -l and -s. These are these two. After that, you would check if we have a location and a search arguments. We would be adding the following string, which we will call search for. It will be an f string, which will take, or they say, which will concatenate the search and then a space and then the location. If not, meaning if someone ran our main.py without arguments, we will pass this as default. So after that, we will pass to the main function, which we will need to create. So in the main function, first thing first, we need to call the Playwright context manager. So now we pass to creating the browser, which will be a Chromium, and that's Google Chrome because that's what we'll be using. We set the browser to headless equal false since we are in development mode. Once you are in production mode, you can set this equal to true, or just don't set it at all because by default it's true. Then we create our page, and after that we will pass to getting the website. So page.goto, and then we will pass the URL. It will open the Google Maps website. We set the timeout equal to 60 seconds because the value in here is in milliseconds, in case we have some kind of an internet trouble. And then I added this line of code. This line basically tells the scraper to sleep for 5 seconds. And the only reason I'm doing this is so that you can see the changes. But in production, you can remove this or like set it to 1 second. After that, we will get the input using XPath. Let me copy this and show you what I'm doing. If I go back here, if I right click on here and inspect, let me make this a bit bigger. So we can see that this input is of type input and has an ID of search box input. And in here we are telling the page dot locator to go to the element on the page that is an input and has an ID of search box input. And then when we find it, we want to fill it with our search text, or let's say search for, which is this one right here or this one. If we pass it to the command line, we will then sleep for 3 seconds so that we see the changes. And after that, we will press enter using the page.keyboard.press enter. The reason I'm using press enter is, once again, when we enter something in here, we either need to press enter or click on this button. So that we don't search for the XPath or the button, I use the press enter. Now we can get all the businesses. So basically, let me copy this and show you what this does. If I come here, if I click on this text or anywhere and go Command F and then paste this text, as you can see, okay, let me first click on this so it doesn't block our view. Then, as you can see, this is this element. Basically, these listings have this XPath. I'm getting all of them, and I'm printing how many did we get. So after that, we will create our business list, which is this one, that will contain all the businesses. And we didn't pass any argument. That's why we used this code. So after that, we will be looping over each one of these listings. Basically, these ones right here. We will be looping over each one of them. However, we only took 5, and that's why I said in the beginning I will just get the 5 first. If we want to get all of them in here, or let's say in here, you will need to first scroll and then get them. Now, for each listing in the listings, we will click on it and then we will sleep for 5 seconds. Let me hide this a bit. What I'm doing is, for each one of these, I'm clicking on it so that this appears. And from this, we can get the data. Let me go back. So after clicking on each one of these, we will get the XPath of each element. So I don't want to try and get the XPath on this video because you will lose a lot of time. So I did search, as you can see, for each one of them. So let me copy this XPath. Let me come here. Let me make this bigger, Control F and then Control V. As you can see, this is the title, which will be highlighted in here. So it's the same one. So it's a span and it has the needed text. So if I go back here, we can see that we have the XPath of the name, the address, the website, and the phone number. So on next videos, I will try and make some tutorials on how to use these XPaths. But if I do it here, I will be losing like a lot of time. That's why I didn't do it. So after getting all the XPaths, we will use the following code. So we created this class, or to say we instantiated this class, and then for the name we will go page.locator and we will pass the XPath of the name, and then we will ask it to get the text. Basically what we are doing here is we are telling it to find this element, which is this one, and then just get the text, not the HTML, and that will get us our text. And we did the same for the address, the website, and the phone number. So after we get all of this data, we will append it to our list, which is this one. So we will use business list, which is this one, and then dot business list, because if we go here we can see that our class has a list called business list. This will be what will be holding our data, and then dot append, and we pass our business, as you can see right here. So we will do this for the 5 element. We will append them, and then when this is over we will save our data. As you can see, we called our business list, and then we called save to Excel and save to CSV. I can just say Excel or just CSV, but I want to show how we can get both. And as you can see, we passed the same name, but since one is .xlsx and one is .csv, we won't get a problem. So let me explain a bit more how we are getting, or how we are saving this data. So if I go back right here to this data class, we can see that we first are getting our businesses saved in this variable, which is businesses list, and then in here we are turning it into a data frame. The way we can do that is, so we have this in pandas, which is pandas.json normalize, but this take a list of dictionaries. In our case, we don't have a list of dictionaries, we have a list of these objects, which is the business. So to turn this into a dictionary, we imported the asdict, which is right here. We are using a tuple comprehension to turn each element, or to say each business in the business list, to a dictionary, and then it will be turned, the whole thing will be turned to a pandas data frame. And after that, if we call each one of these, it will first call our data frame, and then it will call the .xl or .csv, which is built in pandas, and we will to pass the name of each one of them, which is the same in our case, and then it will append it to .xlsx, because this is the extension of Excel and this is the extension of CSV. And of course we set the index equal to false. So this is our script. Let me save our script. Let me open our terminal and let's run our script. Let's say Python 3 main.py, and let's in here do something like dentist. So let me hit enter. Here is our window. It will populate the form with dentist London. It will hit enter, and then it will start clicking on each one. As you can see, we have scraped our data, and notice here how we have this 8, which is as I said before, I did print, I don't know where it is. Okay, here it is. So I did print the listing that we are getting, and apparently Google Maps only gives us 8 at first, and then each time we scroll it gives us more. Now that our script has run, notice here how we have a Google Maps data.xl and Google Maps data.csv. We have these names because these are the names we passed. And if we open the Excel one, we can see that we have data in here. And same goes for CSV. Or I can better open it in the Finder. Let me open this, and you can see we have the same data. So thank you for watching. You will find the source code on my GitHub, which will be linked in the description. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comment. Thank you.